Do you see the screen?
Yep.
Okay. So, of course, I have used the information that you told me, like the 1st of September, 1952, and then 7:22 in the morning. So what you see here is there's a lot of information. So I'll just start explaining like what you see. On the left side, you have the BodyGraph, also the one that you have printed out. And that's a representation of the energies that make up your design. And we will start going and digging more into that in a minute. On the whole right side, what's called chart properties, you have everything that relates to and explains what's going on the left side. And then down on the right side, you have what's called foundational properties. So all this that it says here, manifesting generator, the strategy is to respond. You have this not self theme, which is frustration that comes up. You might also feel anger because that's in combination with being a manifesting generator. On the right side here, we have what's called your personality side. And the personality side, or the black numbers there, represents gates within your design. So you have 64 gates, and the different symbols here are different planets, basically. So you have the sun, you have the earth, you have the moon here. And when I hover like over them, you can see like what they relate to in the specific design. So where you have these specific gates, that's where it's represented. That's where the energy is in your design. And this is the personality side is the more conscious part, the part that you are aware of. And it's consciously available to you, and it relates specifically to your birth time. So the information that you gave me here. Yes. Then on the left side, you have the red numbers, or the design side, and the representation there. Again, you have it's also the sun, it's the earth, and the moon here, and then it continues all the way down with the different planets. And here you have, when you see in the design, you have red channels, so you have red gates that are hanging there. And so that relates to the design date that you have over here. So you have a birth date, and then you have a design date. And so the design side is more unconscious, and it's roughly 3 months before. So 88 days or 88 astronomical degrees before your birth. So it's more hidden, more coded into your body, more unconscious. But when other people interact with you, they have a tendency to experience the more hidden traits of who you are, more than actually who you think you are from the personality side. So when you dig deeper into human design, a lot of small aha moments come up, because of course, like the older that you are, the more understanding you have of your life, and the easier it is to relate whatever you learn here or learn from human design and relate that back to all the experiences that you have. But the planet's positions basically at your birth time and 3 months before defines your design. So everything that is in your body graph basically gives you, the centers, the gates, and what's colored in. It basically gives you your design. And over time, you become more aware of your unconscious traits. As you get older, discover more of yourself and who you are. And a lot of people can relate to this without understanding human design. The older you get, the more you understand about yourself. But this is for people that are really working with spirituality, working with themselves, and are healing themselves. It will come up faster, because you will start working with some of the, let's call it the shadow side, or the more hidden parts of yourself. So people that have worked a lot with themselves, they have a tendency to understand that part or feel that part of themselves much easier. I've also had readings with people that haven't done any work at all, and they just thought that it would be fun to try and do a human design reading, and they have a tendency to not really understand that, those parts. When I try to explain something that's like, no, I don't feel that at all. It's like, okay, well, maybe you have some work to do. So, but again, there's nothing good and bad. Everyone is on their own journey. So the gates, both on both the personality side and the design side, represents, or the numbers represent gates, as I said, like in your design. And these gates are made up from what's called the Chinese I Ching, like one of the systems that human design is made up of. And I think I want to show you like a little video here. So I'm just going to stop presenting this page. And then I will show you a little video on YouTube, because I think that's, I really like this little, it explains like how why and how your design is set up. So can you hear the sound?
Each of the planets moves through our solar system at a different speed. They follow a consistent orbit around the Sun, but from the perspective of the Earth, their movements and speed seem to fluctuate. The first step in calculating a human design chart is to map the positions of the planets in relationship to the Earth. The human design mandala has 64 divisions that are used to track the movements of the planets, the moon, and other aspects of our solar system. The positions mapped in the mandala activate corresponding elements of the human design body graph, approximately 3 months before your birth, and again at the moment of your birth. These activated elements are recorded. It is the combination of what is colored in and what is left open that creates your unique human design chart.
So that was just a little visual representation of how your specific chart is. It's sort of like a snapshot, like when you and your mom at the time of birth are separated energetically. So when you are being born, it's not when you take your first breath, but it's when you are separated, then you get your own, like your personality side here. And when we look at, make it a little bit smaller here, what we just saw in the video here is basically the representation here. This is called a mandala, basically like a human design mandala or a raw rave mandala. And we have out here the Chinese I Ching. And the Chinese I Ching is represented by these 64 gates. And these gates are then related to the different, it's really hard to see here, but the 64 gates that you have in your design. You also have on the inside here, you have an inner circle. That's Eastern and Western astrology. In your body graph here in the middle, you have the different centers, and you have 9 centers in human design. It comes from the Hindu chakra system. And then between the different centers in here, you have like some channels. This is where the different, the different gates are also represented by. And these channels are the rods that are the channels that are also being used in the Judaic Kabbalah, the tree of life. Okay. And then the last thing is basically quantum physics, and quantum physics in general, or in science, but here in combination with human design, basically just explains that everything we walk around in here is a little bit like, no, it's a fabric of life, and when we incarnate, we have this specific design. So that's basically, I would say, human design, and your specific energetic template is a new possibility. Like it's a way of changing your personal narrative. It gives you the knowledge to begin to share more of who you really are. For example, in your case, maybe standing very strong in the power of who you are, like a feminine power. And this is, if we had just learned this earlier, I would say it doesn't really matter when you start learning, but if we have learned this earlier, of course, we have to take in consideration the time we were born in, and where we grew up, and Sweden, for example, now I've lived there, it can be a little, we tar det långt, and we don't do too much of this, and it's it can be hard, I think, with the energy that you have, which we will go through now, because you have a powerful energy. So, and you know it yourself as well. It's just maybe you put a blanket on yourself sometimes to not get up. Yeah. If I'll go back to the standard setting here. If we look at your body graph here, what's important is where we see colors. So in your chart, like this is you, where you have like colors. This is energy where you carry with you in what's called your defined centers and your defined gates. So when something has a color here, for example, your centers, some of them have like a specific color, or some of these gates, like where you have something that's called the hanging gates here, that's basically you. So your human design is a map of energies and energy circuits that express itself in a certain way. So it's about where you have consistent energy and where you don't. So you have what's called defined, undefined, and white centers. So you have defined centers, those are the ones that are colored in. It basically means this is where you have consistent energy. Then you have undefined centers. Those are the ones where there's only like one gate that are activated. This could be the head center or the action center right below. And then you have a white center. The white center here in the middle is where there's no connections to it at all. So that's just how we define it basically. When you have what's called a full channel could, for example, be 3420 here. That's when two centers are connected by a channel. You also have it here from the spleen center and up until the throat center. So there you have two full channels. And the full channels, we won't go into depth with today, but basically it can be seen as a communication between two centers. So when you have a defined channel, it means that both of the centers are basically defined as well. A full channel means that it characterizes like a specific theme, a function, or like a gift that's quite consistent and reliable to you.